Hi, and welcome to this short video. Well, I hope it's going to be short on how to set up the programming of the Aston Martin key fob. Just to outline the difficulties that I only had one key and one fob. As you can see, the original key is on the right-hand side, and then fob is down on the left-hand side. And what I needed to do was to obtain a second key and fob in order to have a spare, just in case I lost this key. So the video today, I'm going to outline how I managed to do that. As a note, I already have managed to program original key fobs for Aston Martin. These are a pair that I bought from Aston Martin at a dealership, and the cost for that was just under £300 for two of them. They come in pairs. These are the 433.92 megahertz units, and they were provided with the all-important ID numbers and also the seed codes. And that is vitally important that that is obtained. Otherwise, it is impossible to program any key into the control central electronics module. The Volvo key that I'm using today is one that Aston Martin have used in the past, and they've made some modifications which I'll come on to. But as you can see, it's basically a 5-button key. And the unit that I purchased came with the all-important ID and seed code numbers, which without you cannot do anything with this process. Looking at the Volvo key on the right hand side and the Aston Martin one, you can see the modifications that they've made with the chrome top and the leather strap to hold the key onto, and that basically just involved a little bit of cutting as far as the external key fob was concerned. The Volvo unit is on the right hand side. Internally, again, this particular chip which is or circuit board which is inside the Volvo unit is made by Megamos. The whole unit is stamped made by Delphi, and again here we've got it printed on 433.92 megahertz, which is a frequency used for European cars, and I believe Japan, but then it's different for places like the US and the Middle East. The central electronics module sits inside the instrument cluster, and Aston Martin will use a special tool in order to program keys, and this is from their workshop manual. And the key learning operation is part of the Aston Martin diagnostic tool, but here it goes into some detail of how they program it. The Aston Martin diagnostic unit is really quite expensive. I believe around about 15,000 US dollars or thereabouts. So it's a very expensive piece of equipment, and the dealers will obviously have that unit and charge you a premium in order to program a spare key fobs onto your car, onto your vehicle. I'm going to be using the Think Diag. It's a Bluetooth based system, and this plugs into the OBD port or into the body port and then communicates via Bluetooth to your phone. And it is within your phone, the application, the Think Diag Plus application, that the programming is held. And this is just another view of the unit itself. I bought this online, and you can pick them up for around about £100 or 120 US dollars, thereabouts. And I will then show you now how we can then program the Volvo unit that I've received, and then how to get that recognized into the system and make it usable. Okay, here we are inside the app itself, and just going to show you around the vehicle itself, just so that you can see what the setup is. At the moment, I've plugged in the Think Diag dongle into the body port. The ignition is on. At the moment, I have my Volvo key and the appropriate codes. That's all set up now. And within the app itself, top right hand side, you need to connect to the dongle itself. And then we go into all systems diagnostics. There's several ways that you can go about entering information. You can either do the automatic VIN decoding, or you can enter it manually, or you can just start the application Aston Martin version 10.44. I'm going to demonstrate how we can do this with the automatic VIN decoding, just to let you see that it can get the VIN information. And you will need to be on Wi-Fi or data, as it uses some of that programming in order to set it up. Occasionally it can glitch a little bit, but the thing is to maybe try a different avenue. I've still just gone in now and asked it to do an automatic VIN decoding. And what it should do is then start to read that information from the modules itself. And here we started the identification process. Aston Martin DB9 2008, and I want to then diagnose, so I press the diagnose button. And then the software within the Aston Martin app will then come up on that. I'm just going to show you something which I think is quite useful in terms of being able to have a look at an overview of your particular vehicle, and then you can decide basically and find information from that, which I find is very useful. It is in special functions, and what we want is read car config. Okay. This will give you a great deal of information, but it is one way of double checking beforehand what frequency your remotes are working on. Here it has a great deal of information. There is streams of it, but as you can see here, it's got the LY frequency for remote, which is Europe stroke UK 43.92, and that's all good. I'm just going to exit back into the special functions. And here we're going to go for the key FOB learn clear option, which is in the middle. First of all, what we can do is we can read the ports that are available. There are, if you like, 6 storage ports available. As you can see, I have filled 4 of those ports, and in each of them is this discrete ID number, but you also have to enter a seed code in order to put a new key in. So now I'm going to start writing my new Volvo key fob into the CEM. I'm going to choose fob number 5, which is empty. And then it's going to ask me for the seed code and the ID. Okay, so the ID, it's fairly foolproof in terms of it will not allow you to enter characters that aren't part of the system, and I'll hopefully be able to show you that. Okay, so the FOB ID, which is I've taken from previously, here is what I'm talking about. If you put in an incorrect entry, I find it very difficult to see the difference between a 0 and an O. And what I do is I just write it down on a piece of paper in order to see it a little bit clearly or clearer. But if you enter in an incorrect number of choices, then it will merely say you can only use alphabetic characters from A to F, I believe it is, and then numeric characters. Here we put in all the data, and all we have to do is press OK, and it says write is finished. Remove ignition key from steering lock. Okay, we've removed the key from the steering lock, and now I'm just going to test the new fob. And okay, so once we finish that setup, then it should be fairly straightforward. I've taken the key out as instructed, so the key is out of the vehicle, and now I'm just left with the fob to try. And what we can do is try and lock it, and unlocking. I've just got the door open, so I'll close that. So we'll do that, unlocks it, and it does the boot as well. So managed to get this key programmed in. I can then use a circuit board or just keep it as a spare. I can take the circuit board out and put that into another fob if you so wish. The one thing that I would say is just pay attention to the seed codes and to the ID numbers. A B and an 8 often look the same, so pay particular attention to that. And really, if you've entered it incorrectly and it doesn't work, then you can always erase. So that is available to you. And here you can see that the key fob is installed, and what I can do is do a fob test on it, just to make sure that it is registering. And here we go. So it was in fob number 5 that I put it in, and it's saying that the signal is received. So all is up and running. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that is helpful. Thanks a lot.